Tonight's going to be a relaxing topic. I just want to welcome everyone that you, I think you deserve it, have come a long way to join this retreat, special retreat. And every time that everyone come here, not only you have a chance to learn about meditation practice, you will learn some wisdom. Specifically, we mean the wisdom, Buddhist wisdom, okay, wisdom that come from the Buddha. And that's something I found it's very fascinating. So in the past 10 years that I have been involved, studying, doing some research, according to the teaching of the Buddha. Even though I was born Buddhist, there's a lot of things that I didn't know. And when I get a chance to know, it's more like not only an eye-opening, it's mind-blowing of the secret of life that the Buddha discovered a long time ago. Okay, so here comes the question, what exactly that we are searching for in life? Okay, you may know what you're looking for, but to see if there's something help add on some value into your life when we reflect on the teaching of the Buddha, whoever you are. And this is my favorite quote from Socrates. Okay, he said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." And I believe it's true. Okay, I couldn't agree more. Which is similar to what the Buddha teach. Okay, if a man can live for 100 years and he never thought about himself and his life, where he's heading, comparing to a man who can live for one day but reflect on life deeply. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? So this man is worth living just one day, comparing to a man who lived 100 years. Because if you reflect on life deeply, you will gain some wisdom. You kind of give yourself a chance to dig deeper into your mind. What exactly that I'm looking for? Who am I? Why am I here? But if you never reflect on your own life, you live life, live life just by default, okay, by default mode, just following what people have been doing, following your mom and dad, following what people do, without realizing that is this something that you really want to do, right? And I found this picture very fascinating when Luang Pi went to, I took it from Indonesia. Someone posts on the wall and I take a picture, and it reflects me a lot of who am I, what am I doing, what am I looking for in my life, and what am I hope to achieve. And this is the teaching of the Buddha, that when he talk about the nature of life, the five aggregate, okay, of who we are. Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter who we are, eventually, okay, we're going to have to leave everything behind. Basically, we die. And in this case, it's only a set of five aggregate. Man, woman, kids, the dogs, okay, it's just a set of five aggregate. It come to exist because of the reason, because of the condition. Okay? And if we study deeper, we go deeper into the area of the law of karma, the law of existence. Okay? But it's not the topic for tonight. And maybe you can thinking of some reason of the reason of why are we here, right? What's the purpose of life? Well, we born and then we have to make a living. Is that the reason why we exist? We born every lifetime just to make a living. Is that all? Probably not. There must be something much deeper than that. Just born and go to school and get yourself education, find good job, and getting married and have family, take them traveling around the world 7 times, and come back and waiting to die. Is there anything else? Okay. Some people may think of, I exist because of my karma only, so I don't have to do anything, so let the karma take care of my life, good and bad whatsoever. Or some people may understand life deeper. Okay, the reason the Buddha exists because he was born as a man, he didn't know about life, and later on he come to know the nature of life, and he start pursuing his perfection to free himself from defilement, to get himself liberation. So that's something not many people think of, okay? But surprisingly, many people in the past, 2,500 years ago, there's a lot of them have this kind of thinking about the meaning of life and how to live good life. But I don't see anyone that I met in my whole life have this kind of thought. People only looking for success and happiness, going to school, climb the corporate ladder, make more money, and that's it. They don't think beyond that mundane living. But not people in the past, not Socrates, not the Buddha. These people, they think deep about life, and they try to find the real meaning of life and how to live good life So the more I study, the more I surprised that how come people in the past, they have that kind of thought and they come up with a lot of wisdom from the Greek philosopher, wisdom from the Buddha himself about how to live good life. Do you have any idea of how to live good life? You have lived life for this long, right? The day you're born until at the moment. I think it's a good time for us to stop and reflect. And the good news is, if you continue practice meditation, and when your mind becomes still, you will start feeling the sense of the deep meaning of life only when you meditate. But if you try to think intellectually, you may not realize that fact of something that deeper than just making a living. But when you meditate, allow your mind to be still, allow your mind to settle down all the thought and worry, you start seeing something that you never see or never experienced before. And this is something the Buddha mentioned about how difficult for a man to be born as a human being. We may not realize this because we born already. How difficult it's going to take. You sit here, I'm sit here already. But remember the teaching of the Buddha not coming from intellectually thinking. He actually seeing things through his meditation. So in one teaching, he teaches about how difficult for a man to be born as a human being. If someone died today, a human being in this universe, in this planet, if die, the chance for those people who die and can come back to be born as a human being, he comparing to the dust in his nail, comparing to the dust in the whole universe. Sometimes you may hear that the Buddha compared to the two horns of the buffalo, have two horns, right? Comparing to the hair in the whole skin of the buffalo. And those people go to the bathroom. And these people come back to be born as a human being. You see how difficult it is. So in this case, he compared to the life of the turtle. In this gigantic turtle, spent most of his life underneath the big oceans. Every 100 years, he would show up to the surface and maybe relax a few minutes, take a good deep breath, look at the sky, and then dive deep back to the ocean and stay down there another 100 years. If someone were to throw the swimming ring into that ocean, maybe not that big, but bigger than the head of the turtle, and just leave it there and wait for another 100 years. Hopefully that this turtle will show up and perfectly fit his head into that swimming ring. Imagine how difficult it would be. Maybe it's not going to happen, right? It's extremely difficult for this chance to be happening. But the Buddha emphasized that being born as a human being is much more difficult than this. It's much more difficult than this. Okay? I don't know how much we can relate it to this. Like I said, we here already, we born already, we human already. So we don't have ability at the moment to recall our previous life of how difficult for us to come to exist in this lifetime, to be born as a human being, right? But again, it's good to have this information so you can live life more mindful and you can at least set goal to be born again as a human being, right? Okay, so these are the things that for the lay people in one particular teaching, that someone asked the Buddha about what would be the most human desire, something that everyone wants to have. But it doesn't mean that everyone can have, but in general, these are the 4 things that most people who are born as a human being, they are looking for. Number 1 is material wealth, and that's understandable. Everyone wants to be rich, want to have enough financial possession so they can live comfortable life. What about fame? Fame come into at least 3 different forms of fame. Fame can be your social status, can be your credibility, and including your subordinate, good friend that you have in your life, and this consider fame, not just credibility. Okay, so people want to have good credibility. People want to have good people in our life. Some people born rich, but they have a very troublesome family members, have kids that always bring them headaches. And that's not what people are looking for. Not only you need material wealth, you also need good people in your life. The more, the merrier. And the third one is, of course, we need to be looking for good health and long life. What's the point if you're born rich, but you're being ill, being sick, going to the doctor every other week, spend the money for the doctor, for the hospital. it's not worth it, right? So we need to have all of this, good health and long life, so we can enjoy what we have, more effectively. Education, family, relationships, you name it. We need to have 3 of this. And at the end, the Buddha mentioned about heaven world, the good life after death. So this comes to another level of understanding the nature of life. And not many people have this goal. Okay? Some people don't believe in the life after death. It's okay, but at least the first 3, I think it's something everyone agree that this is something I'm looking for. Wealth, fame, good life, good health, and maybe good heaven world, a good place after we die. Is there anything else you think beyond this list that human being looking for? Or that's it? Anything else? Human being in the past, human being nowadays, and human being will be born in the future. They're looking for something in common. Something like this. This is undeniable fact. And nobody wants to be poor. Nobody wants to be, born handicapped, right? So we want all of this. Then we can live good life. Then we can consider ourselves a happy person. So we need to have all of this. The Buddha not only just mentioned the term, he actually teach us how to get all of this. And this is the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. In the Buddhist text, which is kept the teaching of the Buddha, it says there are 84,000 discourses, the teaching of the Buddha kept in that text. In Thai version, we have 45 books, 84,000 discourses. I don't know how long would it take to finish reading all of that. Maybe a lifetime job. But the interesting thing is, among those 84,000 discourses, the teaching that the Buddha actually gave to the lay people is about less than 10%. 90% he teach the monk. So if you're born Buddhist, if you think you understand the teaching of the Buddha, if you think you learn all the teaching of the Buddha, I want you to think again, because that's only 10% of his teaching. Another 90%, most of the lay people have no idea what the Buddha was talking about. And that's the beauty of someone being a monk. So we have a chance to actually spend time to study and understand his teaching. And this is just one of the things that he teach about how to live good life as a lay person. So the topic of tomorrow we will go deeper. There is one particular sutra that I think is relevant in this time for the society to get to know this particular discourse of the Buddha that talk about if you are a lay person and if you choose to live life as a lay person, what does it take for you to live good life and being happy as a lay person? What would help you to secure your wealth and happiness in the long run, not only in this lifetime, but it's secure for the future lifetime. Okay, and that's for tomorrow. So we live in the sensory world. We find happiness from something outside all the time. All the time. From the thing we see, from the thing we hear, from the thing we eat, we taste, we touch, and then we feel happy. And we think that we can control that happiness, we can control that satisfactoriness. But it's not the case at all. One of the things that every monk must master according to the teaching of the Buddha, the day one he ordained until the day that he died. And that thing is called sense restraint, to control the sense door. This is very important. And one monk asked one of the Sariputta, happened to be the right man, the right hand of the Buddha, happened to be the super smart monk, second to the Buddha. The monk approached the Sariputta and said, "Venerable Sir, what would be the reason why someone disrobed? After a monk being ordained for quite some time or long time, how come he disrobed?" Sariputta mentioned 3 reasons why he disrobed. And number 1 is this one. That monk did not guard the door of sense well enough, so he has to disrobe. At the beginning, I was not sure I understand or not. And as I reflect on it, often I start to understand what he means by that. And the second reason, that monk is not moderate in eating, not mindful in eating. And the third one, he is lazy in practice meditation. So if the monk has 3 of this quality, he will definitely one day disrobe, go back to the lay life. Because he will never realize, if the monk never realize another level or the more refined form of happiness. Happiness comes from meditation. So the monk tend to go back to the sense pleasure world, the happiness that he get used to as a layman. His wife, with kids, with entertainment, with computer, with traveling, with clothes, you name it. So that one is obvious. It's easy to feel, easy to taste. But happiness from the mind, well, I don't know. It's hard, right, for someone to actually realize that. But it takes time. The Buddha gives us the step. So here you think of the fish. The fish, no one forced the fish to take the bait, to take the hook. But because the hook with the intriguing bait look beautiful, look amazing, so the fish take the hook, and the fish gets suffering. Eventually the fish die. Human being, we just like this. We get trapped with a lot of things in the sensory world. We go after, relationship, after another relationship. We go after clothes, food, shelter, medicine, fancy vacation. And we hope that when we have that, when we in that relationship, when we have that vacation, when we have that house, that car, we will be happy. And we have a bigger one, we will be happier. But it's not the case. And this kind of happiness, the Buddha gives us the warning, it comes with condition. It comes with suffering behind. Just like the fish feel like, wow, I'm going to take this bait. But at the moment he grabbed that bait, he is suffering. Okay? And this is the secrets of life that the Buddha discovered and he shared with us. And I feel grateful for this. And you guys should feel grateful for this too, to have a chance to hear this. And he said the world not necessarily mean this physical world. This world refers to us as a human being, as an individual. You are one world, I am one world. The world of Chris, the world of Eddie, the world of Uncle Tanu. The world is led around by craving. By craving, it is dragged here and there. Craving is the one thing that has all under its control. What does it mean by this? It means that each one of us, we are under control of the craving. We think we control the craving, but the fact is opposite. The craving controls us. The reason you go after things, you think you can control that craving, or that craving actually controls you to force your behavior to go after that thing. And never enough. And with this craving, if we don't mindful in living life, we will end up suffering down the road. Because we human beings, as long as this defilement is still in our mind, we will never stop wanting. Even though you get to that level, you will never stop wanting. Rich people want to be richer. Richer want to be richer. When you're on top of the world, you want to be on top of the heaven. Never end, never enough. That's the nature of human being. Because we are enslaved to the tanha or to the craving. And that's what most people don't aware of that. So every time you go after something, if you zoom into your mind deeper, you may notice that something is driving you toward that. And that thing the Buddha discovered, he named it tanha, and tanha translates to craving. Okay? But don't get confused between craving and passion. Okay? If you go after, if your life has purpose, okay? I was born poor, I need to do my best, okay? Get myself education, go to the best school, and start having my own business and taking care of my family, my mom and dad. If you have that goal lay out clearly, and you go implement, take action, whatever it takes to make that thing happen, this is not craving, because this motivation motivated by wisdom for you to have a better life. But craving is something that motivated by ignorance, to go after one thing and never stop wanting things more into your life. And this is the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. Okay? The Buddha did not reject material wealth. He did not reject at all. Okay? He encouraged us to enjoy what we have. But you need to be careful, you need to be mindful what you are enjoying. Okay? And in this teaching, I just name it happiness management. I think it's easy to understand. First, not over-consumed by unnecessary worry and problem into your life. What does it mean? Do you think in just today, How many things that you worry yourself too much, unnecessary happiness that come to your mind? 47% of human beings, we get lost in thought. According to the research of the Harvard University, we think of the past that already gone. We worry about COVID, worry about economic, we worry about the global crisis, something that may never happen. Basically, we spend 50% of our time get lost in thought. We don't actually live life in this very present moment fully. So we bring an unnecessary worry and happiness and unhappiness into our life every single day. To me, this is such a waste, okay, of time and energy. Spend time thinking of something that already gone and something that might not happen in the future. And how many times that you actually live life fully here and now? When you eat, do you with your food? Or you eat with the phone on, with the television on, with the ear, something in your ear, with the book open up, with the newspaper surrounded by you? That's how people eat. You're not actually with the food that you eat. You don't know the taste, you don't know the texture, you don't know what's in your mouth. You chew something and you swallow something. By the time you're done eating, you don't know what you ate. That's why most people, they don't live life at the very present moment. And that is why at the moment, according to the WHO, number one global disability is depression. I have no doubt about it. The Buddha mentioned a long time ago. He mentioned about two kinds of disease. It is possible to find a man who proclaimed that, you know what, I have been living for 50 years, 80 years, 100 years. I never been one day getting sick, physically ill. Possible. Someone can live up to 120. But it is very rare to find a man who stand up and proclaim that you know what, never one moment in my life that's free from worry and anxieties. Only the mind of Arahant. But for us, we always worry. Even though you have everything in life, you have wealth, you have fame, you have good health, you still worry about something deep down, and that's the nature of the mind. So meditation is the tool that's available that help us to understand our own self and enjoy what we have, okay, more effectively. And the second thing, after you not overconsume yourself with unnecessary happiness, you know somewhat how to take care of your own mind, what to think, what to let go. Then the Buddha said, you know what, enjoy material wealth, no problem. No problem for you to buy Mercedes-Benz, 5 cars, 10 cars, if you can afford it. If you don't, if you have money to buy it, it's okay. Big house, no problem. Fancy vacation, no problem. Enjoy it. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't cause yourself problem and people around you problem. But here come to the most interesting part. Do not get trapped on that material happiness. Just like the fish bite into the hook. Okay? Do not get trapped in the realm of material happiness, because there is something more than that, just happiness from the sense pleasure. The Buddha suggests us to go further to develop the refined form of happiness. And this is something that not many people are aware, that there is something much deeper than just happiness from the sensory world. Okay, and this is the one. I give you a summary, so you see the whole picture of the level of happiness in the eyes of the Buddha and the wise people in the past. So most of us, we only trap in the first level, on the blue one, which is happiness come from sense pleasure. All the time, we have no idea, is there anything else, any kind of happiness that I can experience or I can enjoy? And this is the one. The second level of happiness is more refined. Happiness comes from the mind that stops wanting. That the mind can be, that the peaceful mind, the mind in your deep meditation. I believe some of you have touched on that experience. That's why you keep coming back to the question. Even a few seconds that your mind stop wanting, stop wandering, you start feeling something happening in the mind. It's the sense of joy, it's a sense of rapture, it's a sense of bliss. You don't know, maybe it's hard to explain by word, but you feel good about that moment. Comparing to everything that you have in your life, education, house, relationship, car, whatsoever, cannot compare to this. And my Master Nan Kunyai Chantra happened to be student of the great master, she said one time that if someone were to offer her the goal, okay, the real goal, like the same size of her body, and ask her to stop meditating, she wouldn't take that goal. She would take meditation, because this happiness and that happiness, this is mean nothing. But this one is priceless. So even 1 second that your mind stop wandering, okay, you're a very lucky person to have that experience, because human mind, they are trapped with those sense pleasure all the time, the moment they wake up until the time that they come back to bed. So that's the second level. Is there anything else beyond that? Happiness come from meditation, come from the peace of mind? The answer is yes. And this is something is beyond our imagination. The happiness come from the mind that actually completely free from the mental impurities, free from defilement, free from greed, hatred, and delusion, which we may never heard about it at all. What is greed? What is hatred? What is delusion? What is nibbana? So this is come from the direct experience of the Buddha, because the Buddha was born prince. The Buddha to be was born prince. He has everything perfectly life. He lived life in the first level, sense pleasure. If you ask him about sense pleasure, he's the one to ask, because he experienced them all. 3 palaces served by beautiful young women. What else that a man want to have? But comparing to the red one, that he had that experience, he had experienced all of this, and he come up with the summary that there is nothing surpass the happiness that come from peace of mind, the mind free from defilement. That's come from the Buddha word. So I think we should reflect on that. If you want to live good life, listen to the teaching of the Buddha. Okay? So how much do we know about ourselves? In order for us to get to this level, the level of the second level and the third level of happiness, we need to understand something about the nature of our own self. Otherwise, we cannot get there. Because supreme happiness or happiness come from the peace of mind, I think it's come with a very deep meaning. That means that person understands the nature of the mind, and he did something about his own mind, and it helped him to get that level of happiness. Okay, so we know that we have body and we have the mind. Everyone knows, how to take good care of the body, to eat good food, have enough rest, exercise, do whatever it takes to be healthy. We know that. But if you believe that you have a mind, the question we should ask is, where is the mind? What size, what shapes, what's the function of the mind, where the mind is located? If we don't ask this question, we will have no idea of how can we find our own mind. People just said you have body and you have mind, and we tend to believe that, but we never experience or witness your own mind. And the good news is we can actually see our own mind if you practice meditation properly. Okay, to save your time, I will summarize for you. So the body and the mind, in the big picture, the body is composed by these elements, at least 4 elements: earth, water, wind, fire. It's just the matter, it's just the form itself. But the body without the mind, it's a dead body. Don't have to eat, don't have to think, don't have to feel, don't have to do anything. It's dead. So that means body and mind need to stay together in order for us to be a complete human being. If the mind without the body, again, the body is cremated already, but the mind still exists. Again, this is not a human, right? It's something else, whatever you want to call it, a ghost or spirit, whatever it is. But for us, we're still alive, so we have these 2 components: the body, earth, water, wind, fire, and the mind. The body we can relate it to. Something solid, which is the earth element, something liquid, which is water element, right? So the air is like the space in the body, the breath that we breathe in and out, this is the air, and the fire is the temperature. We can relate it to that. But the mind part, how can we relate it to our own mind? How do we know that the mind exists? There must be a way, right? How do we know? If we can think, something is thinking. not the body think. Earth, water, wind, fire cannot think. Something do the thinking, right? If we can feel, something is feeling. So we can assume that, okay, that may be the mind that think, maybe the mind that feel. Okay, for now. But here I just want to pinpoint that the body comes with the disease. In this physical body, it has virus, it has fungus, it has everything here. But the reason we not get sick because the immune system is still working properly. If we get COVID, then we have sore throat, we have fever, right? But the reason you don't have that strong symptom because you have a good immune system, basically. That's the body part. What about the mind part? The Buddha discovered that human mind have the disease as well. And the disease of the mind, okay, he summarized into 3 main categories, which is the greed, hatred, and delusion. And Lupi John usually call this the virus, the virus of the mind. How can we take care of this virus? What kind of medicine? If it take over your mind, we cannot see it, but we can feel it. When you get angry, that tend to be the second guy, the hatred, right? If we have lust, we want something, go after something, that tend to be the first guy, the first virus, which is greed, and we never feel enough. If we get confused in life, we didn't know what to do, that may be the third guy, is the delusion. Okay, just to keep it simple. So this information is very important for us to know in order for us to be able to live life fully happy and to get to the highest level of happiness. And here the Buddha summarized, and I think we can reflect on this. Each sentence, we cannot take it lightly. There is no fire like lust or greed. There is no offense or harm like hatred. There is no ill like this aggregate. Aggregate means this body. Okay, earth, water, wind, fire. We have a lot of disease here. Okay, we have to eat every 6 hours. We have to sleep every day. We have to take shower every day because the cell in the body die. 300 million cells every 1 minute. So we have to do something. The body is ill. And what interests me is the last sentence. There is no bliss higher than peace. No happiness surpasses the peace of mind. In other words, knowing this as it really is, the wise person realizes Nibbana, the highest bliss. The Buddha gives summarize to how to live life noble. If we understand the nature of life, okay, the wise person should find a way to realize Nibbana or the highest peace. Don't get trapped on the low level of happiness. There's no fire like lust. There's no harm like hatred or anger. There is no ill like this aggregate. And there is no happiness surpass the peace of mind. What it mean by surpass the peace of mind? So if we want to be happy, we want to be at peace, we need to understand this sentence, what the Buddha means. Okay? And this is the last slide, so I will spend time on this slide. In the eyes of Buddhism, there are 2 groups of people, the lay people and the monastic people. The lay people, just like all of us here, okay, we have family. It doesn't mean that you have to get married, but you live life as a lay person. But for the monks, these people live life fully, okay, spiritually. They don't get married, they don't do the work, they study the Dhamma, they practice meditation, okay, they do something opposite to the lay people life. But these 2 groups of people, they're looking for something in common, okay, which is happiness. I want to be happy. The reason I become a monk, I want to be happy. But my happiness is not the same as your happiness. We look for happiness inwardly. We're looking for a more refined form of happiness. And the most refined form of happiness, which the Buddha mentioned, the technical term is called Nibbana. So just get yourself familiar with this term, or we can call it supreme happiness. But for the lay people, they're also looking for peace and happiness, but their happiness only stuck in the first level, which is happiness come from the sense pleasure. The reason people get married because they think that getting married will bring happiness. Otherwise, you wouldn't get married, right? You live life single. You think that having someone in your life will make your life happier. That's why you look for a relationship. Buy house, bigger house, 1 car, 2nd car. That's how lay people live their life. So basically, they look for happiness outwardly to go after the material thing. This is the big difference between the lay people and the monks. And if someone asks, what is exactly that make people, the lay people, different from the monk, or make monk different from the lay people? The simple answer to this is the precept they observe. That's it. The lay people observe 5 precepts, sometimes 8 precepts. But the monks, they have more rules to observe, to follow. We're talking about more than 200 rules. If monks have no precept, monks don't observe precept. The monk and the lay people, they are the same. So you don't need to offer me food, you don't need to bow to me, because me and you, we the same. I can drink, I can dance. No need to respect me. But the reason Buddhist people respect the monk, because they believe monks have precept. Monks observe higher precept. So they free monks' time. The morning, get the bowl, go to the village. People will give food to your bowl for the rest of your life for free. Medicines, clothes, shelter. The people will do their best to support the monk. Hope that one day that the monk can come back and teach them something, share them some wisdom, teach them how to meditate, teach them how to live good life, because monks have time to study the teaching of the Buddha. For the lay people, we are so busy, we don't have time for anything besides making a living. Forget about study Dhamma, forget about me going to the temple and meditate for 7 days. It's not going to happen. But again, these two groups of people, we're looking for something in common. And the Buddha is very kind. Okay? He teaches both of how to find peace and happiness in life. The thing is, happiness doesn't come from the sky. It's not going to fall off of the sky and all of a sudden you wake up happy. No. Happiness needs to be cultivated, and it can be sustained through the right wisdom. And that's, to me, this is a good news. So if you want to find peace and true peace and happiness, and the Buddha emphasized that no happiness surpasses the peace of mind. And this refers directly to the mind that realize Nibbana, the mind that free from defilement or mental impurity. So we need to take this sentence deeper, not just happiness from here and there, but it means that we are actually fully liberated. We are not enslaved by craving. We are free from those craving from our mind. And how can we achieve that? He not just tell us the nice theory, but he actually give us the framework and the practical way how to develop our own happiness. If this is something you're looking for, if you want to be happy, whether you're a monk or a lay person, you can utilize this framework. Okay, we start from sila. Sila means morality or precept. And the second set of framework is called samadhi or mind development. First, you develop your manner physically and verbally first, not to be harmed, okay, to be kind, and then you develop the mind. And the second set of framework, the third one, is you develop your wisdom. But sometimes, for the lay people, observing precept may be difficult to start off with. So the Buddha suggests lay people to start off with donation, generosity. Giving is easy, right? You give. Whatever you have, you give. And then after you giving, comfortable with giving, you see the monk walk by, you give him food, whatever you can give. And your mind becomes soft, more relaxed, more kind, more calm, more loving kindness. And with that kind of mind, then the Buddha introduced precept. That means the mind is ready for the next level of development. So start giving them the information about what is precept, what the benefits of observing precept. So when I say precept for the lay people, by default, you should understand the 5 precepts. Avoid killing or harming, stealing, right? Sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicant. These are the 5 universal morality that everyone should practice. This not belong to Buddhists at all. Okay, this is the universal goodness that everyone should practice. If you hang out with these kind of people, you are lucky that you're not going to be harmed. He's not going to steal anything from you. He's not going to harm your wife and your children because he observed the 3rd precept. He's not going to lie to you. If you're working with this kind of client or customer, you are lucky. And he's not going to intoxicate himself because he is mindful. He practices mindfulness. So this is universal. It's not belong to Buddhists. The Buddha his teaching, the Dhamma is something that already exists. He did not create anything. He see the nature of life and how to live good life. If someone want to have good life, to be happy, whether a monk or the lay person, the first thing that you must understand and practice is the idea of being an ethical person, to be a morality person. If you become a monk, he's not going to teach you how to meditate at the first day that you ordain. You go back there, you study the rules. You observe precept first. You develop your manner first. If you still be a violent person, a harmful person, forget about mind development. You cannot have peace of mind. That's why the new monk take 5 years. These 5 years we are called Navaka, or newly ordained monks. These 5 years allow the monk to understand what monk can do, what monk cannot do, what monk should do, what monk should not do. Understand the rules. And then after that point, after he is ready, the Buddha will introduce him the mindfulness practice and then meditation practice. You see, it's difficult. He's not just all of a sudden teach you how to meditate. So if the monk want to be happy, when I say happiness, happiness of the monk comes from the peace of mind. Before you can have that peace of mind, you must observe precept first. Same thing if you are a lay person, if the man still harming person, stealing stuff, sexual misconduct, drinking and telling a lie, this man cannot be happy, whatever he does. Doesn't matter how much money he has, how much education he has, he cannot be happy because his mind will full of worry all the time of the wrongdoing that he did, of the thing that he break precept. So the starting point of having good life and happy life is to make sure that you understand the concept of precept and observe it. Observe precept, unlike the law. The law, we have no choice. The law enforced equally, indiscriminately. Male, female, kids, doesn't matter. If you break the law, you get punishment according to that consequence, that's action that you commit, right? But precept is by choice. You can observe one precept. No one say anything. There was one Thanajayo that ordained with us last batch. At the end of the training, he said, "Luang Pi, I will observe 6 precepts." I was laughing. What do you mean by 6 precepts? I only heard of 5 precepts. He said, "Can you tell me what are those items?" He said, "Okay, I'm not going to harm anybody. I'm going to do my best. Not stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying to my parents, and I will stop drinking alcohol." And what is number 6? He said, "Entertainment." I said, "Wow, that's good. You can teach yourself." Entertainment is in the category of 8 precepts. So he go further. He go beyond the realm of 5 precepts. He will stop too much indulge in entertaining, in watching movie, watching show, and whatever it is, because he want to have a good meditation. So he teach himself that direction. So precept is by choice. Understand the concept of precept and willing to observe. No one force you to observe. You can observe 2 precepts, 3 precepts. No problem. If that make you happy, if that make the quality of your mind better than before, so start from something that you feel easy and comfortable first. In general, 5 precepts is there. Is that enough for you to be happy? You observe precept, you're a good man, you're proud of yourself, you don't kill, don't harm, don't lie, no sexual misconduct, you can smile all day. By the way, if someone observes 5 precepts purely, can we consider him a good person? Is that enough? Most Buddhist people got it wrong. This is very easy to gain merit, to be called a good man, right? You observe precept and you sit at home all day long watching movie and you think you're a good man. Something happened out there, you don't help. People get infected, COVID, there's a flood, there's an earthquake, there's a lot of things happening out there, but you pay no attention. It's not my business. Your neighbor need help, not my business. But I am a good man, I observe 5 precepts. Not enough. The teaching of the Buddha is much deeper than that. So he teaches something that follow the 5 precepts we call the 5 Dhamma. If you observe precept, the first precept that you intend not to harm anybody. You set intention, today I'm not going to harm anyone, which is good. It's a good starting point. But you can go beyond that. Not just intend not to harm someone. Can you develop yourself to reach out and help someone? Develop loving kindness towards someone. So precept is like the door that lock what? When you lock this door, you cannot go out and do bad thing. But the Dhamma is the door that always open. You exit this door to do good thing. You not just keep the door locked and don't doing bad thing, but you call yourself, I'm a good man, I'm a good man. It's not enough. You have to have another door always open. Whenever opportunity presents, you take it to do good, to reach out, to help. Not only telling a lie, can you develop yourself to be a truthful person, to do what you say, to say what you do, to put your life into your word. So this is the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. That's the first step, to make sure that we understand the precept and we become a moral person, a virtuous person. This is the starting point. But the thing is, it's not enough. Because the nature of life is dukkha or suffering, and dukkha or suffering come from, most of the time it's come into us in a refined form of suffering that we may not realize it. You may be a good dad, good boss. At the end of the day, you still feel worried about tomorrow, about economic, about business, about COVID. You feel lonely sometimes, feel insecure sometimes. So precept is not enough for us to live life happy. The Buddha introduced that you need to develop the quality of the mind through the meditation practice. There are so many meditation practice. That is why meditation is important. So when physically and verbally are taken care of, calm, understand, good manner, then you lift yourself up to the second level to develop your happiness through the meditation practice. And this help immunize yourself when life hit you hard. In the US, I think that the doctor committed suicide, 300, 400 doctors a year in the US. That means one person committed suicide every day. These people are smart people. Why they kill themselves? I don't get it. So something wrong with his mind or her mind. They're missing the second element. So mental development or mind development has to be there if you want to be happy, whoever you are. Okay? I have many friends, who born in a poor family. I met the farmer, the gardens, the lady that sells something on the street. But every time I see them, they're always smiling. Life is always good. And these people will never ever commit suicide, no matter how poor they are. To me, this is wisdom. People who have wisdom will never harm themselves and never harm others. It's about wisdom. Wisdom is not like, it's opposite to intellectual. Good memory, how to do things, smart way. Wisdom is about understand the nature of life and how to live life, how to live good life. Okay, is that enough? I observe precept comfortably. I meditate every day. Luang Pi, I should be happy, right? No, it's not enough. That is why the Buddha presents the third framework for us. If you want to be happy, you need to develop something called panya or wisdom. Panya or wisdom in Buddhism come into at least two dimensions. Panya, I like you to think of brightness and liberation. If you enter the dark room, you open the door, you cannot see anything because it's dark. And you get fear, you get worry, what's there, what's on the floor, what's up in the roof, so you get scared. But when you open the light, you turn on the light, all of a sudden your fear goes away. Because you see, oh, that's the chair, that's something, it's not the snake, so the room is safe. So you are liberated from that fear. So wisdom come in two sense. It comes with the sense of understanding, and that understanding take your mind to be liberated from whatever suffering that you have. Let's say we meditate, we observe precept, and all of a sudden someone we love die. Like my mom died, my dad dies. I have to confess that I have been a monk 15 years, and I cry. I couldn't stop my suffering. I'm not supposed to cry, right? Because I'm a Dhamma teacher. I teach people Dhamma. I teach people how to let go, understand the law of nature. People born, people sick, people die. But when it happened to me, why I cry? Because my wisdom is not strong. I cannot let go. I cling to my mom, cling to my dad. It took me a while. Even now, it's been 2 years. Sometimes I feel sad. Wisdom is about fully liberated. People born, people die, that's it. No need to cry. It make no change. Nothing gonna change. Mom is gone. You can keep on crying for the rest of your life. keep on hurting yourself for the rest of your life, she's not going to come back. I can say that, but practically, sometimes I cry. So again, we need to develop wisdom too in order for us to live life happy, fully. Because when we understand, then we can let go. But normal human being like you and me, we don't have that strong wisdom yet. We kind of understand, but when it happens, we still suffering when things happen. Okay, so everyone see the picture of what Luang Pi trying to say. Okay, so we're looking for peace and happiness, that's for sure. Okay, but you need to define what it means by peace and happiness through your own lens. And the Buddha teach us how to obtain that happiness. But you need to master 3 of these elements. Okay, make sure you are an ethical person, whether you are dad, father, boss, wife, whoever you are. And then don't stop there. Find time to develop the mind through the mindfulness practice, through the meditation practice. Again, don't stop there either. Move further to develop wisdom. Okay, anything at all that when you learn, when you hear, it brings value to your life. It helps you to understand the meaning of life, and it helps you to live good life. And that is the Dhamma. That is the wisdom that you should be looking for. To wrap it up, there are 4 things, whether a lay person or a monk. If we want to be success and happy, the starting point is, number 1, you need to find good teacher. I believe you can be success and happy on your own, but you cannot be the best version of yourself without the support of others. If you are an athlete, you play sport, right? You can win the race locally, but if you want to go to Olympic level, you need a lot of help to get there. So find good teacher. Second one, wholeheartedly listen to his teaching. Empty your glass. Take it. Don't just reject. Something may not make sense. It's okay. Take it. Ponder about it. That's the third one, to reflect on what you learn. Critically thinking, analyze what you learn. And the last one, make sure you put everything into practice and have a direct experience toward that knowledge that you learn. Without having a direct experience, your faith level is very low. I may keep telling you meditation is good for 100 years. If you never have direct experience why meditation is good, you will not believe, you will not have faith toward meditation practice, and eventually you quit. So you have to put everything you learn of how to meditate and practice and still the mind, do your best to guard the sense door, to deal with the 5 hindrances, and hopefully one day your mind can be still and have that experience by yourself. Then you will understand what the Buddha wants us to experience and what he means by a direct experience. So with that, I think it's good time to take a break. All right, so we'll take a break.